I am on a quest to platinum all Souls-like games available on PS5. Well, not really. I just did Night Train recently and now somehow I have a Souls-like fever. And also, intros like this boost engagement, so yeah, I need to hook you up somehow. Where was I? Ah yes, Lies of P. A masterpiece Souls-like from Korean developer Round 8 Studio that takes the familiar childhood fairy tale of Pinocchio and twists it into a steampunk zombie horror where honesty is optional but suffering is mandatory. Do you wish Bloodborne had more weapons and customization? Fear not, as in Lies of P, you can mount an axe head onto a spear shaft and, despite the game's warning, create the most torturous weapon in the game. Or take this analog of Whirligig saw and put it on a handle that spins to create an ultimate meat grinder worthy of the Dead Rising Hall of Fame.
Better than being naked.
Do you yearn for NPCs to actually have personalities and quests at the end of which, instead of sharting their pants in agony and giving you another Zanzibar hint, you actually get some nice closure?
Can a puppet and a human fall in love? Have you ever met a puppet who loves a human?
Or maybe you like moral dilemmas where telling people the truth is considered to be not only rude, but also grounds for a bad ending. And all of this is Lies of P. And it's basically the closest thing our little PC Master Race brothers have to Bloodborne. So without further ado, let's jump right into Lies of P Platinum Journey. Lies of P has 43 trophies in the main game and 11 more in the DLC. It's estimated at around 50 hours and is usually ranked as not overly difficult. Because there's an easy mode? Oh god, an easy mode in a Souls-like? Yeah, that's it. Normies invaded my favorite genre of games. Okay, sorry. It's also possible to get all the trophies in just 2 playthroughs, that is if you're a safe-scumming, cloud-uploading, lazy-ass bitch. The game has 3 endings, which means we'll be completing it 3 times, and that actually pays off quite nicely, so stick around until the end. For the progression route, I'd go with the most efficient and best for mitigating gameplay fatigue. New Game Plus, DLC, and then top it off with the last playthrough on Endgame Plus 2. That said, I'll be playing on Legendary Stalker difficulty, which is the original difficulty before the others were introduced. We start the game and wake up as P, a puppet made by legendary doll maker Geppetto. I picked the Strengths build because I wanted to play as a big bonk puppet. We also get some DLC items right after exiting the train, which includes the Azure Dragon Glaive. It looks cool, so I switched to it right away to see how it goes. It does more damage anyway. I defeat a couple of enemies and right after the block and parry tutorial, managed to break the security guard's makeshift weapon, earning the ultimate defense technique. Blocking and parrying is a pretty important aspect of the game, and you would quickly learn it the hard way if you try to go full Bloodborne and only dodge. It is not easy to start dodging the red attacks, which until maybe halfway through the second playthrough I thought to be unblockable, not perfect parry onlyable. I must have missed that tutorial because for a long time I was trying to dodge all these attacks and even complaining to my friends that red attacks have wonky damage boxes. In any case, I progress a bit further into the train station and run into a typical backstep tutorial monster, which also nets us Fatal Blow. After defeating the mini-boss on my first... after defeating the mini-boss, I get out of the station and activate the Stargazer, this game's analog of bonfires, and get another achievement. Wow, it's raining achievements right from the start of the game. I progressed through the area, trying to defeat all enemies and loot everything that is not nailed to the floor and shining with blue gleam, enjoy the view of hotel and buy the rest of starting weapons from the merchant, because we will need them for an achievement. Finally, it is time for our first major boss, which is the Parade Master. And I have to agree that he is a great starting boss. He is big, with massive heavy attacks, yet he does not one-shot you. His wide swings teach you how to block more and dodge less. And he has a cool design overall. I managed to beat him on the first try, so yeah. Right after the Parade Master, we need to utilize our superpower for the first time. In order to get inside the hotel, we need to lie that we're a human being, because hotel security does not allow puppets inside. And surprise, surprise, P can lie freely to anyone, unlike all other puppets. And also by lying we can increase our humanity.
Fourth law. A puppet cannot lie. Welcome to Hotel Krat.
Ironic.
Inside we meet Antonia, the head of the Krat Hotel, Eugene, a blacksmith that gives us our first custom hand, the puppet string, Sophia, the blue-haired woman who woke us up back in the train in the first place, and Polendina, Antonia's puppet butler. I go through Elysian Boulevard without a lot of trouble and eventually meet Toma, who asks me to find his friend Murphy. And if this is not a Bloodborne reference, I don't know what is. I find my first red butterfly, and I thought that you need to follow it to some kind of treasure instead of smacking it, and it was kinda awkward when it just kind of disappeared. We pick up another quest to find the woman's baby and move on to beat another policeman mini-boss and get the Krat police baton. And really, what the fuck is this weapon, dude? I defeated the Mad Donkey, who really gave me some trouble because he punches like a mad donkey, but I managed to defeat him on my second try by switching back to Azure Dragonglaive. We save Geppetto and get the achievement.
Seeing you like this, I understand why some people despise me.
I also try assembling a new weapon, but I have just a few blades and handles at this moment, most of which are not really compatible with each other, because a blade should use the same attack type as the handle, like strike, slash or pierce. We also progress to defeat Scrapped Watchman, and yes, you can see I used the summon, but only because I was sure that there is an achievement for summoning a specter during the boss fight. I didn't really go through the whole ass trophy list because, you know, you need to do 3 playthroughs, so I thought I will do everything one way or another. But before moving on, I complete the quest with Toma and Lady in the window by bringing her the doll and lying that it's beautiful for some humanity points. Next stop is Venini's factory. We get through the sewers and the main building, meet the fox and the cat, and finally Venini himself, before the fight with the next boss, Fuoco. But before that, I go back to the hotel to upgrade. I change my weapon to the Booster Glaive, which is cool and has a fire charged attack. I level it to +3, and since Geppetto is now chilling in his office, I can also upgrade my P organ. Naming this thing a P organ is definitely very intentional. It's like they dare you to say I maxed out my P organ with a straight face. To upgrade your P organ, you need quartz, which is usually found in secret chests or dropped by mini-bosses. Every socket you fill with quartz grants a minor upgrade, like reduced stamina consumption, and when you fill all the sockets in a node, it grants a bigger buff, like more pulse cells or additional amulet slots. I died to Fuoco once, as tradition dictates, but he's generally not very hard. Next stop is the cathedral, and oh boy, it gives off those clock tower Castlevania vibes. It's probably the combination of platforming, moving gears, verticality and music that does it. Hell, add some flying Medusa heads and I would instinctively start whipping candles for hearts.
Smack the lip.
We also meet Janjo there, and I literally lolled how he failed the deception check right off the bat.
My name is Janjo. I'm an A pharmacist.
We also meet Alidoro. Hey buddy, great to see you got out of the Darkwood. And finally I can exchange boss loot for special weapons. We have 3 so far: the big spiky sword, the umbrella and the lance sword. I decided on the 3rd as I'm still in the mindset of pursuing a motivity build at this point. That being said, I absolutely wiped the floor with the bishop, despite it being considered a gateway to mid-game or something like that, because a lot of people complain that they are stuck on the bishop for weeks. This becomes a running joke, because I usually struggle on bosses that are considered easy, but breeze through the bosses considered bullshit. I don't know why. It is also fun that in the second phase you can just run to the bishop's back and it's his phase 1 again, which is of course considerably easier. I get to level 47, upgrade my P organ and we move on to Malum district. We team up with Fox and Cat for like 2 minutes, they're kinda weak, so I end up doing like 90% of the work. But I guess this is what they actually wanted in the first place, to use me as a mid shield. Eventually we got into the most Resident Evil-esque area of the game, with a big square and a bunch of zombies. I mean, really, all we are missing is a bell, a chainsaw and a guy yelling "Detrás de ti, imbécil!" We also get another payphone riddle, and I completely forgot to mention it before, by the way, but yeah, there are payphones where a voice will ask you to solve a riddle. They are not very hard, and if you answer correctly, you'll receive a key that you can use to open a special door with a triangle mark on it. Those doors usually contain some cryptic messages and nice loot. In the end, we'll need all of them to get another achievement. Also in this area we can find the best merchant in the whole game, who sells unlimited throwables of every kind. And in Lies of P, throwables are actually useful, so it's good to stock up here every now and then. From here we finally get to the boss of the Malum district, the Black Rabbit Brotherhood, who also take the gold medal from me for most aura farming entrance cutscenes of all bosses ever.
Try to use my name, that's fatal. Try to claim my fame, but that's fatal.
BRB are considered one of the worst bosses because, you guessed it, it's an NPC gang fight. But to be honest, I found this fight quite fun. It took me maybe 7 or 8 tries, but the fight isn't as bullshit as a lot of people say. The siblings come to you one by one, with the youngest one not doing any damage whatsoever, and the eccentric is actually very easy to stagger. The most annoying one is the guy with the hook, but I prefer to just use Fable Arts on him to bring him down quickly. The actual boss has like 3 moves, and while I only learned how to parry his vertical swings semi-consistently, he's not all that hard to beat. You just need to be very careful. I clutched on the last point of my HP, dodged those tornado swings like a boss, and finally beat these guys. The haters, absolute W boss. In Black Rabbit Hideout, we get our own portrait and also discover that it's connected by an elevator to the hotel. Very convenient. We meet the pale nerd there who asks us to go to the garden and check on the gold coin tree. We do, and we get an achievement.
I never expected to see the gold coin tree in a place like this.
Using gold coins, we can respec and also buy wish stones from Giangio. They act sort of like ambers from Dark Souls or physic flasks from Elden Ring. I never really used them, so I'm not sure how useful they are in reality. I upgrade my P organ a bit and head to our next destination, Rosa Isabel Street. I get a quest from my grandma to bring her a bottle of rare wine. Overall, this area feels like a harder version of Elysian Boulevard. Also, Jesus, what the hell are those baby puppets? Speaking of annoying fights, we run into the white lady and she's just relentless, and even to the point that I even managed to break her weapon, which I very rarely can do by perfect parrying the attacks, so yeah. And then we head into another sewer section after picking up one more quest from Julian to find his wife. And man, these guys in the sewers have no business doing this much damage. What the hell? We find Julian's wife, who naturally turns out to be a puppet, and take the ring back to him. And next up is the real bullshit boss, Mad Clown Puppet. Well, it's actually not even a boss, it's like a mini boss, you can skip him, but still, This guy is just annoying. As with most enemies and bosses in this game, you just need to learn how to perfect parry their easiest attack and you'll be fine. For me, it was his spinning attack. I get into the opera house and find Adelina to start her questline, and finally I reach the Puppet King, and oh boy, this is the first boss I used a summon on after maybe 30 tries. I just couldn't get through the first phase without taking too much damage, and usually Romeo would kill me in a couple of combos. Of course, with the summon I managed to beat them on the first try, and yeah, summons in Lies of P do trivialize bosses. But it's a two-phase, full HP bar reset fight, and those are probably my least favorite ones. So, sorry, not sorry. We get to Lorenzini Arcade and also witness a cutscene back at the hotel that indicates our humanity accumulation is going quite well. Lorenzini Arcade is another great multi-layered level with a couple of mini-bosses. The highlight is the clown from the basement who kicked my ass a couple of times. I also get the From Across the Rift achievement for defeating all types of dimensional butterflies. Okay, I guess? I didn't notice much of a difference, to be honest, well, except for color, of course. Only the big yellow ones feel really unique since they can actually cast a repel spell on you or something. I'm not sure if the other butterflies have their own gimmicks, so yeah, let me know in the comments. We progress to the exhibition center, where I find the last needed Legion component to upgrade my Legion arm to max level and get an achievement. I also noticed that the painting of us we found in the BRB hideout has started growing its nose. Huh, what's that supposed to mean? Finally, we're up against Victor, and this is another boss where I eventually gave up and used the summon. Because, damn, starting with Puppet King, bosses really picked up in difficulty here. But yeah, I was calming myself down because I have 2 more playthroughs to make this even between us. We've introduced the main villain of the game, Simon Manus, head of the alchemists. We also find out that Sophia is basically an illusion and her real body is held on the enigmatic Isle of Alchemists by Simon. And she's basically like a god of sorts. The next area is the swamp, probably the biggest zone in the game overall. The endgame tower might be even larger, but you don't feel the scale because it's mostly narrow and vertical. Here it's one big trash dump in the middle with several smaller areas around it. Oh great, not you again.
Oh my god, bro.
We also meet Alidoro, to whom I gave the special leather gloves made by Eugene, only for him to be absolutely disgusted by them. What an asshole. Eugene, on the other hand, notices that she made those gloves specifically for Alidoro as he has only 4 fingers on one hand, that were lost when saving her and others from a fire. But this Alidoro seems to have all his fingers intact. Something is weird here. I can't prove it just yet.
My god, I never did like that girl. She's just like him. Oh, I thought you had better taste than this.
We meet the broken puppet, whom we can teach different gestures for rewards, and traverse through the village. I definitely do not die on that obviously death trap looking bridge, and eventually fight the giant killer baby puppet.
Jerry, think about it. It's a baby. Don't do it.
Finally, I circle back to the tower, destroy the turrets, and then kill 2 machines of the future robots for quartz. I also drop by the Owl Doctor in his shack for a friendly visit, but he is not very happy to see me. At last we reach the boss of this area, the puppet-devouring green monster. What a nice name. For some reason this is another boss considered bad by the community, and while yes, it has 2 full HP bars and 2 phases, which adds a couple of bullshit points, it's honestly not that bad. I managed to beat it on my 6th try. And once again, I had no pull cells and little HP. At this time I realized it's very easy to perfect parry its charge attack, which also causes a stagger, so I just ran around baiting it.
I knew you'd do it.
Thank you, Alidoro. What a nice guy. After defeating Jerry, and yes, I'm calling the puppet-devouring green monster Jerry from now on because saying puppet-devouring green monster over and over again is how you spray your larynx. In any case, Jerry drops the best dex weapon in the game, the 2 Dragon Sword. I'm immediately fascinated by the cool moveset and the awesome parry skill, timings of which I will land maybe 7 times in the next 29 hours of gameplay, but rest assured I feel great every single time. I quickly upgrade the 2 Dragon Sword to +5 and pop strongest special weapon achievement. Almost immediately I get to upgrade my P organ to phase 5 to get extreme potential. From the scrapyard we circle back to Krat Central Station, now infested with zombies. I died to the Weasel like 20 times. Man, f the Weasel, honestly. I don't believe he was fighting on an empty stomach like he said. We exit the station to find Krat being demolished by strange crystals. Zombies are everywhere and the whole area is now sprinkled with crystals that cause disruption buildup, which is an analog of Death Blight that kills you instantly. I fight the We Have Pointiff Sullivan at home mini-boss and pick up another telephone riddle. The boss of this area is the Corrupted Parade Master. A classic, what if we take the tutorial boss and make him harder so you can compare how much stronger you became type of situation. I beat him on the first try and even managed a perfect parry with the 2 Dragon Swords flashy move. Awesome! At this point I start to think I'm getting good, but considering what comes next, I couldn't be more wrong. After getting back to the hotel, we discover it in complete disarray, with all denizens locked in Geppetto's office for safety. After letting them know it's safe now, they let us in and explain that the assault was a villainous plan by the alchemists who bribed the rabbits, Fox and Cat, and also Alidoro. It would be great to say each had their own reason for betrayal, but in fact only the rabbits do, since the alchemists promised to revive their elder brother, whom we killed just a couple of hours earlier. Questionable, but okay. Alidoro, Fox and Cat are just greedy assholes. Alidoro is already hinted to be an imposter, the real Alidoro is revered as a hero, and this one definitely doesn't live up to the name. And Fox and the Cat are just the same as the original book. Swindlers taking advantage of the hero's gullibility and naivete. And it is even the same in the Soviet live-action adaptation based on Tolstoy's version of Pinocchio that I watched as a kid, because I'm from Eastern Europe. So yeah, we have our own Pinocchio at home. A lot of stuff that's going on in the game, I don't even know the original characters because those are not in Tolstoy's version of Pinocchio. So yeah, the more you know. In any case, we use yet another secret passage in the hotel, and I mean, how many secret passages are there? Imagine there's like a secret pier under the lobby with a submarine to the alchemist style. That would be stupid. This secret passage leads to a second BRB fight, but now we have to face all 3 siblings at the same time, with the Elder's Coffin ominously towering in the center of the arena. Despite being another gang fight, the rabbits follow strict 90s action movie logic, never use your numerical advantage and always attack one by one. When you dispatch 2 of the 3, elder brother breaks out of the coffin, which was expected but still caught me off guard the first time. On my second try, I lowered the remaining siblings' HP to a sliver, and as soon as the big guy joined the fray, I rushed down the last brother to force a proper duel. The elder is honestly the same as the first encounter, save for one new attack, courtesy of his new alchemically powered arm. So yeah, the fight is cool again, but I expected a second phase where he transforms into a monstrosity or something. But then again, a gang fight followed by a full HP third phase final form would probably be a bit too much, but quite cool. In the same cave, we meet Alidoro and finally confront him about his identity. He admits he killed the real Alidoro and took his name. We have the option to kill him, which of course I do, because, you know, him. I kinda laughed when this actually gives you humanity, like you did something good. Additionally, we learned that the original Alidoro was actually Eugene's brother, and both of them are from the Land of Mornings, which I imagine to be very close to the Land of Reeds.
Telling this to Eugene actually wraps up her plotline and gives us one of the few quest-related achievements in the game.
After all, and that's priceless.
Venini also tells us about his childhood. He is basically this universe's Batman. His parents were killed by a maniac puppet and he grew up to be an eccentric billionaire playboy, minus the bat phobia. We're not going full plagiarism mode with Marvel's lawyers watching. We also learned that Romeo, the Puppet King, and P were friends who grew up in the same orphanage before something happened and they became puppets. It's a small but crucial detail and it will matter in the DLC. So, take notes. It will be on the test. Finally, I realized I had enough resources to upgrade a normal weapon to +10, so I did exactly that to snag the next achievement. And right away, I bought the last remaining Legion arm, snagging the Legion arm collector. Finally, we use a secret pier under the hotel to call for a submarine? Are you guys for real right now? The Isle of Alchemist is the last and arguably the longest dungeon in the game. It's beautifully structured too. Without any tricks, you literally climb the entire tower from the ground all the way to its pinnacle. There are multiple sections with traps, dogs that emit dust blight, alchemists cosplaying Tesla, and a whole lot of zombies. At some point we also discover the last Trinity Sanctum door. This one is unique. You cannot open it unless you've opened all other Trinity Sanctums throughout the game. Even if you have a key on you, until you open every other door and answer the final riddle, you won't receive the key that opens this particular door. And behind it we meet Arlecchino himself, hooked to a bunch of phone cables, almost dead. In his gestury manner, he reveals that all puppets are in fact humans because Ergo is none other than crystallized human memories, or even maybe souls, that were put inside the porcelain husks of puppets. Since we also spoke to Venini about his childhood, we can ask Arlecchino about it and he will confess to be the killer. In fact, he was the very first puppet that went haywire, and probably the most successful one at that, because it was long before the puppet frenzy Krat is experiencing at the moment. With that info, we return to Venini to finish his storyline and get the Story of the Prince achievement.
I envy you. Your strength. Thank you for this. Talk about closure. I always welcome friends. May I be of service?
We reach a new Stargazer right before the next boss, and I decided to go to the hotel for some upgrades and to bring Venini another cryptic vessel. I didn't mention those before, but cryptic vessels are items usually hidden in hard to reach places across the areas. If you bring them to Venini, he'll decipher them in few seconds because 1. He's a genius, and 2. He invented them in the first place, and eventually reveal the hidden info inside. This usually points you to a specific location where you can find a hidden treasure. It's optional and not always useful. Sometimes you get a quartz, but more often than not you'll get a piece of lore and a new jacket for P. The last vessel reveals that if we show one of the boss weapons to the merchant in the ruined Krat, he'll hand over some goodies, and that also unlocks the achievement.
Hope you like it.
And finally, we're here, the nut kicker, the shit stopper, the Millennia Blade of f***ing Michaela of this game, Lexatia the Complete. To be honest, I wanted this to be my heroic comeback after using summons on several bosses. You know, the hey guys, I sucked then, but I got good and redeemed myself moment. But lo and behold, that did not happen. I tried Lexatia maybe 30 times, and while I could consistently reach phase 2, she would demolish me with pure relentlessness. No matter how many times I died, I realized I wasn't improving. It just wasn't clicking the way it usually does with other bosses. So I used the summon and beat her on the first try. Skill issue, I know, please write about it in the comments, I implore you. After Lexatia is defeated, I also find the final merchant of the game, Test Subject 286, who moves from the tower basement to Rosa Isabel Street. I buy the Crystal Carcass axe from him, which happens to be the final normal weapon I need for the normal weapon collector achievement. We also come back to the hotel, where Polendina informs us that Lady Antonia has passed away due to petrification disease. She'd been afflicted for a long time, but because we actively participated in Polendina's endeavors to heal her, even getting a supposed cure from the pale nerd that prolonged her life a bit, we wrap up her and Polendina's plotline for the story of the refined old lady achievement.
For the kindness, bravery, and beautiful moments you showed me.
Around this time, I also noticed I already can collect the Golden Lie, a weapon you can take when the nose of P's portrait grows so long it starts shining gold and can be used as a spear. I'm pretty sure the more humanity you have, the longer it gets, and since I was lying like there's no tomorrow in this playthrough, this was probably one of the earliest moments you can snag it. This is crucial for collecting all special weapons, because if you miss the Golden Lie, you'll need to redo an entire playthrough with maximum humanity, because there's no other way to obtain it. We progress through the tower to its pinnacle, where we find the real Sophia chained to the structure and basically powering its ergo collection. She begs us to release her from suffering, which we do, absorbing her ergo, which turns P's hair grey. Why? I have no idea, but okay. This also unlocks the final emotion and treat and pops the learning about emotions achievement. At last, we reach the pinnacle of the tower to fight Simon Manus. Imagine being a totally normal dude and turning yourself into Quasimodo on steroids. What's with these villains and body horror? Look at him, he's definitely not comfortable in that horrendous form. In any case, Simon is much easier than Laxatia, of course. He has white, telegraphed swings that are easy to parry and generally not too hard to read. His second phase can have its bullshit moments, especially when he summons a literal hand of God that covers maybe 70% of the area and then starts barraging you with an endless stream of projectiles that either prevent you from running into the safe zone or, if you are already there, have too little space to dodge everything. I think he died on my 5th or 6th try. It seems like fighting Laxatia is like training in hyperbolic time chamber from Dragon Ball, because it quickens your reflexes and makes the remaining bosses easier. After his defeat, Manus tells us he was actually in love with Sophia and wanted her to love him back. The fairy friend-zoned him, so he kidnapped her, locked her in the tower and drained her energy to power his god metamorphosis. Jeez, I'm glad I'm married. Looks like Tinder matchups are one big pile of crazy nowadays.
It's fine, one gone.
Finally, it all comes down to our inevitable confrontation with Geppetto. You see, Old Man was actually working on all fronts. He was partnered with Venini to mass-produce puppets, while also attending occasional alchemist BBQ parties. All for eventually finding a secret to eternal life. And eventually, I don't know, rule the world? Roll that stuff from Nostalgia Critic.
Of course!
To be honest, even after 3 playthroughs, I don't really understand who P is to him. At first I thought P was his real son that died and he tries to revive him by creating a similar looking special puppet that can absorb ergo and kind of evolve into almost human being, but it seems like the original P was an orphan, so I don't know. Let me know in the comments please, what am I missing? Geppetto congratulates us with killing a god and asks P to give the old man his heart. Surely we tell him to proper fuck off, and the old fart summons the real final boss of the run, the nameless puppet. And I gotta say, I understand why this battle is considered one of the best in the whole game. This is basically Lady Maria fight from Bloodborne. It's cool, it's fair, it's epic. Music is awesome. Nameless's moveset is quite vibrant and he nicely combos many different moves one after another to keep pressure. And that's only his first phase. His second phase, after a botched decapitation attempt, first of all looks awesome, but also he becomes much faster and gets enhanced version of his usual attacks. I don't know how many tries it took me, but it was definitely more than 10 or even 20. The fact that there's literally no run back and you revive one step away from the boss gate enables you to try and try until you triumph. After the battle, Nameless Puppet tries to destroy P's heart and Geppetto gets in the way to protect it. This time P goes for the heart and not for the head, killing the puppet instantly. Dying, Geppetto sees a single tear rolling on P's cheek and realizes that he became a real boy even without his help with readjusting his heart. We also get a scene of P reviving Sophia by putting her ergo that he absorbed previously into blue-haired puppet. Well, good for them, I guess.
It's so good to see you.
And we also get a post-credit scene that reveals that Giangio, the pale nerd, is none other than Paracelsus, and he vows to find Dorothy. Fun little teaser, and I wonder if Round 8 really consider making Wizard of Oz into a Souls-like. Definitely won't sleep on this one. Alright, this concludes the first playthrough with basically the hardest ending to get. Before we jump into the New Game Plus, for the neutral ending, there's just a few small achievements we can unlock. First one is Pianist of Krat, where the human reborn P can now play a whole melody on piano as opposed to what he could do in the beginning of the game. We can also exchange the Nameless Puppet's ergo for the final special weapon, Proof of Humanity, and pop Special Weapons Collector. Quick note, I opted to do this during this playthrough just to make sure I don't mess up things by accidentally trading some boss ergos for amulets, some for weapons, and then repeating the same mistake in the second run. I know myself, I can do this. So I decided to exchange only weapons now and save amulets for NG+. It's not the most optimal choice. I ended up using only the Sword of Arc and the 2 Dragon Sword, and some of those amulets seems pretty OP, so don't sleep on those if you are not doing the achievements. Finally, we can go to Geppetto's office to find a letter from Sophia thanking P for reviving her and reinforcing the idea that P is a new kind of being, no longer a puppet, but not quite human, with the side bonus of immortality. Don't mind if I do. And from here we jump to New Game Plus. There are almost no achievements during the second playthrough, so while I speedrun NG+, you just relax, get comfortable, and I'll see you after the lunch break. Yeah. Full cell lemonade. Yeah. Okay, I like this. Yeah. To be honest, y'all got me a little wind up. Get it? Wind up?
I know that I be on some other shit. I know that I'm different. I be on some mad clockwork. I don't mention it. Made it through the streets of Krat without a membership. Killed a guy and enjoy that adjuster in December shit. I just parry shit that y'all are having trouble with. Let them run their mouths. I mean really, that's what come with this. They build a wall but I just find a shortcut back to it. They want me to be done with it. NG+2 I'm running it. I advance, have technique and motivity. Puppet strings but I'm still in captivity. I go to sleep and my creators visit me. They surrounded me, gave me the vision vividly. Give me a blade so OP I'm breaking industry. Now I just walk and chew through my enemies. I'm like the alchemist, infinite, there's no end to me. Turn the clock back, watch B y'all. Turn the clock back. Turn the clock back, lie or die motherfucker. Turn the clock back. With this P organ I feel I'm getting crazy, yo. Honeyed rounds of life but still stuck on Laxatia. Yeah, I took a knee, never threw in the towel though. Hip-hop's Leah, Carlo and Romeo. Scored on these toys, I've looted damn near every single ergo of these toys. Sold out puppet shows and carnivals on these toys. I'm on a raw sword, wipe the floor with these toys. Puppets ask me how I do it, I just lie more than I tell the truth, like a human. Y'all carcasses thought I blew it. I pulled the pin out of the termite on purpose when I threw it. And even though I have a rusted heart, sometimes I get that ergo spark. Cause I'm a real boy at heart. I'm not just a puppet, y'all. Turn the clock back, watch B, y'all. Turn the clock back. Turn the clock back, lie or die, motherfucker. Turn the clock back.
So, NG+, as I mentioned, there are generally no achievements to unlock here. We already killed all the bosses and grabbed all the weapons. There's no achievement for collecting all amulets, which wouldn't be a bad idea, but okay. I breezed through the run in maybe 7 hours. I switched my build to the puppet axe, or whatever it's called, and started doing insane damage. So most of bosses weren't a problem solo this time. And before some elitist douchebag who likes to smell their own farts and perfect dodges the shower shows up to say it's not legit because I'm stronger now, no, fuck you. Bosses still 2 to 3 shot me just like in the first playthrough. Yes, I'm dealing more damage, but it's because I'm using a big bonk weapon like I wanted in the first place. And like, to be honest, I did get a bit better at the game, even to the point where I finally figured out Lexatia's second phase. You have to be as aggressive as she is, block everything and lifesteal it back with small pokes. Absolute dance of death, and I was very satisfied when I managed to pull it off. Solo, so fuck off, really, shut the fuck up. By the way, NG+ adds a few new features, the biggest being an additional phase for the P organ, which is actually quite cool. Imagine my surprise when I discovered this. The new passives are just great. There are more pull cells, better pull cell recovery, yes please, and
keep the change, you filthy animal.
You can also collect a new type of vinyl records, the golden variety. Oh, I never properly mentioned the vinyl records, did I?
So, in Lies of P, you can become a vinyl collector. And just like in real life, it's not only very expensive, but also very inconvenient.
You get them from merchants and by completing NPC questlines. Some are harder to find than others, and listening to them at the hotel gives P a bit of humanity. That actually can be helpful if you need a final push at the end of a playthrough, but already missed or failed some quests. In NG+, merchants start selling golden vinyls, and those are needed for Golden Melody, where you have to collect and play all of them. The last one is sold by test subject 286 after Lexatia, which is where I picked up the achievement as well. And the music is actually quite good, by the way. We beat Manos again and confront Geppetto. This time I make sure I'm doing just a little bit of lying, but not too much, so I can get what's considered to be the neutral ending. You see, P's humanity is indicated by the phrase that appears anytime you gain it. It starts with "your springs are reacting" and eventually progresses to "your heart is pounding", which means you've basically became human. For the neutral ending, you need to stop somewhere in the middle where it says "you feel warmth". You also need to release Sophia and absorb her ergo. Leaving her alive locks you into the bad ending no matter what, I think. It's not 100% information, just in case. In the neutral ending, when we defeat the nameless puppet and Geppetto jumps in to protect us, P does not shed a tear. Geppetto calls him useless puppet instead of my son, and we don't get the scene where we revive Sophia. Alright, NG+ is done and we are left with the DLC and the bad ending. Obviously, I was not ready to replay the same game third time back to back, so before jumping into that, I decided to tackle the DLC. Overture unlocks on the Pass of the Pilgrim after defeating the corrupted Parade Master. You'll find an overgrown stargazer near some graves where you originally find the Black Rabbit token, and this stargazer transports you to a winter area. At first we proceed as usual, kill some zombies and loot nearby chests, but gradually we realize we've been transported not only to another place, but to another time, specifically the past. How and why this happens, I think never really explained, and to be honest it's a bit weird for Round 8 to pull this off. I mean, we're not in Dark Souls 3, where time is convoluted and realities fold into each other like my grandma's chocolate layer cake, and considering we actually influence some events, the how it works part should at least be addressed in lore. Maybe it is. and I just didn't read it. Very possible. We find ourselves in Plat Zoo of all places, and it's not living its best days. The whole place is overrun by zombies that have infected the animals as well, and we literally get everything. Zombie bears, boars, monkeys, elephants and kangaroos. Also, whoever designed this arena with a zombie gorilla and a handful of kangaroos you need to fight at the same fucking time, while other monkeys throw shit at you from the jungle gym above, can burn in hell, respectfully. Notably, there are bosses in the DLC that don't unlock any achievements. The first such boss is the zombie crocodile. I've read a lot of rants that this boss is absolute bullshit. I don't know. It's not more bullshit than the whole area with overpowered mobs and weirdly telegraphed moves. It took me a couple of tries probably. And you can see I'm also testing out DLC weapons, a new Legion arm that hurls multiple circular blades, and what seems to be Krat's version of a gun lance from Monster Hunter. We enter greenhouses and meet a new enemy, sexy Taekwondo puppets. I wonder what their purpose was during, normal times. Eventually we meet Marchiona, the main boss of this section. As soon as I enter the arena, my heart sinks. I realize it's a double boss fight. But after a few tries, I also realize this is a double boss fight done right. Marchiona and her angel puppet act as one, with a lot of cool flashy moves, including a unique cinematic grab attack. The main strategy here is to down the puppet and while it's recharging, dish out some damage to Marchiona. I kinda just push through by focusing on her from the start. The puppet can be a bit annoying, but it doesn't do a lot of damage, aside from its charged attacks.
I had no rival beyond Leia. It should have been the two of us.
The next area is a carnival, and it's actually quite cool. There are a few neat gimmicks and the Parade Master even shows up here as a regular enemy. There's also probably the coolest weapon in the DLC and maybe in the entire game, the Maniac's Pinwheel Blade, which spins faster the more you run. It's the closest thing to a Space Marine chainblade we get in this universe. To be honest, the damage is a bit underwhelming, but I decided to stick with it for the time being. We also meet Rosora and take her quest. I play some carnival games, learn how to tap dance and get immolated by a fire thrower, just like Disneyland. There's no boss in this area, so we bring Rosora her shoes, buy a red vinyl record and a black rabbit key from the merchant to get the eccentric set and head to the train station. We meet a blind painter there and take her quest. The tram takes us straight to Hotel Krat, which isn't open yet. There, we find the DLC's new upgrade mechanic. You can use quartz to further enhance any node of the P organ. This is probably for those who came to the DLC on NG+25 and already have everything maxed out anyway. In any case, I enhance my first node and pick up the Beyond Limitless Potential achievement. We meet Lumacchio, the leader of the Sweepers, or the Bastards. What was the difference again? He explains that we need to find Leah, the legendary stalker who wants to save Romeo. Yes, that Romeo, the Puppet King in the main game and our friend from the orphanage, as apparently he should still be alive at this point. We take the same elevator Leah used and it brings us to the secret underground lab. Because of course the hotel would be connected to a secret underground lab. This is a pretty big section of the DLC, with hard-hitting enemies and a lot of diverging path. I push through until we come across the first boss of this area, Veronique, leader of the Bastards, or the Sweepers. Who cares at this point? She hits super hard, but after maybe 10 tries it clicks and I start perfect blocking most of her combos. And she goes down like my upload schedule when another video gets 82 views. We also meet the tracker, who is Alidoro, obviously, but this time it's the original one. He gives us a special item so we can call him if we need help, and not long after I stumble upon the main boss of this area, the Overseer. I call Alidoro and we manage to dispatch him quite nicely. I know it's a summon, but it's a story-driven summon, so I'm not counting it. In the next section there's also young Jerry you can fight. It's optional and kind of hidden. You need to jump off the elevator halfway down, but if you play Souls-like games, this is the first thing you check when you ride an elevator, if there is a halfway down, halfway up point where you can jump off. It escapes at the end so we don't create a time paradox and we get a quartz, which is nice. finally, we get to the Anguished Guardian, a giant boss with a range of devastating attacks. Though, to be honest, it's not that hard. Somehow I managed to dodge most of its worst attacks, and after a few tries, it goes down. We proceed through a small mining encampment to a frozen shipyard, and there's everything here. Crazy puppets, weird alchemists, and a zombie swordfish which is the bane of my existence. We killed the Wolverine wannabe, promised the old fisherman a bottle of beer, and eventually reached the next boss fight, Lumacchio himself. He is of course partnered with alchemists for some reason. I didn't even bother to listen to him. So after we defeated his human form, he turns into a typical zombie abomination. Not very hard, he puts on some decay, but you know, he went down first try, that's it. We finished some quests including Cipher Machines, which is DLC's variation of cryptic vessels. We bring those to Alidoro and he gives us clues on where to find some good loot and uncover the mystery of a certain murder. Safe to say it's always the blame of the alchemists. So generally nothing too interesting here, but we need those for an achievement. We get to the lighthouse and upon checking the last floor, we acquire the last needed gesture of the DLC and an achievement. There's not a lot of gestures in the DLC. Notable one is the shiver gesture that unlocks when you die to freeze ailment.
Hey buddy, see that? Over there. We found it!
We meet Rosora again and open another BRB door, the DLC's analog of the Trinity Sanctums, which mostly give BRB siblings attire. We also discover a hidden room from one of Alidoro's clues, where you need to stand on a panel while heavily overloaded, or using the Giant's Amulet to trigger it. This completes the last Cipher Machine mini-quest, and we pick up Tracker of Dark Secrets when reporting back to Alidoro.
The sole reason I remain here.
We finally catch up to Leah and go through a small section where we fight enemies together, which is a cool change of pace. We make it to Monad's house and mostly go through it alone, because Leah is suffering from petrification disease and is sadly on her death's door. The area is very nicely done. It's more of a lore dump compared to the tower from the original game, which was long and punishing, and Monad's house isn't too complex, nor does it throw any bullshit bosses at you. Instead, it tells the story of the horrible things done by Arlecchino and the massacre that followed his actions. It's kinda sad, really, probably the most depressing part of the DLC and the game as a whole. By now I'm used to the Lies of P narrative, where everything and everyone is withering, either to petrification or moral decay. Most people are assholes, but you know, this is just heartbreaking. In any case, we get to the last boss of the DLC, Arlecchino himself. Same guy who plagued us with riddles, by the way, and the same guy who killed Romeo, and overall, a grandiose asshole. You can actually use Leah as a summon in this fight, and of course I did, because 1. This boss can suck my dick, because it's a fine example of a DLC final boss that's hard because he should be. And 2, look at this joint critical attack you can do if you down him while Leah is active. But even with Leah, it took me God knows how many tries to defeat him. I came close once in the first 3 or so tries, but after that I wasn't even close for a long time. Every time he aggroed on me during his second phase, I'd just go down no matter what. After countless tries, I finally got him to low HP and also poisoned him with throwables before he went for another round of his endless ultimate combo. And he kinda just ran out of HP while doing the wind-up. Yeah, a bit anticlimactic. But what can you do? My hands were shaking nonetheless. Leah mourns dead Romeo and also gives us her sword. She finally remembers who we are before P vanishes back into the future. On the other hand, how could she not realize it was him all along? It's the mustache, right?
All this time, I wondered why you look so familiar. Now I know.
What do you mean? It's a me, El Carlito. In the post-credit scene, we see Geppetto coming to collect Romeo. apparently. As Leah dies, she entrusts her legacy to us, and we receive the sword in-game, also unlocking the true combat gear collector for gathering all weapons and Legion arms of the DLC.
It's your story now.
In the past version of the hotel, we can now open a door in the gold coin tree yard that leads to Leah's secret room. We can listen to her last message to Romeo and Carlo, receiving the last needed recording and unlocking Enduring Resolve. And right after that we can also listen to the DLC's recording we've collected to get the final achievement of the DLC, Memories Melody. Whew boy, that was a wild ride, but it's not over just yet, because we need to play the base game one more time to get the last missing ending. Since we have all the weapons and are level 200-ish now, I just breathed through this playthrough as an ultimate power fantasy. All stats soft cap? Check. Monad's Rose Sword +5? Check. Phase 7 P organ? Check. Wait, what? Ah, you beautiful bastards. Round 8 also added another P-Organ phase for NG+2 that lets you wear 5 amulets, equip 2 Legion arms, which I still never used, and block red attacks with normal guard. With all these upgrades and knowing every area by heart, I was sprinting from boss to boss, unleashing the Monad's Rose Sword ultimate on everything. I died maybe 5 or 6 times, purely due to my own stupidity, rushing through levels too fast and getting ganged up on because I forgot about ambush number 76 around the corner on Rosa Isabel Street. In any case, this run was done in maybe 4 to 5 hours of casual gameplay while watching YouTube on a Saturday morning. Additionally, since we're giving our heart to Geppetto this time, we don't have to fight the nameless puppet, which makes the game a tiny bit shorter. But yeah, let's talk about this. The bad ending. I thought the DLC was depressing, but this ending is just vile. We give our heart to Geppetto, he revives Carlo, and Carlo casually massacres the whole hotel, killing Venini, Eugene, everyone, who are then replaced by puppets in the post-game. What the actual fuck, round 8? If I'd known, I would have gone for this ending on my first or second playthrough, not the last one. Now my save file is permanently tainted by this atrocity. In any case, we get the achievement Real Boy, they all lived happily ever after, which is a troll if I ever seen one. And in the post-game we can also go to Geppetto's office to read his letter where he explains how he loves Carlo as his son and how he will rebuild Krat for him. Ah. On that gloomy note, we pick up the story of one father and the Platinum Trophy. Alright, getting the Lies of P Platinum Trophy took me around 60 hours over 2 weeks. Not too bad for 3 playthroughs including the DLC. What can I say? Lies of P feels like the best Souls-like not made by From Software. I haven't played many other Souls-like yet, but for now Lies of P has set a very high bar for anything I'll inevitably try next. Low-key waiting for Phantom Blade Zero because it looks sick, so yeah. The game takes the Bloodborne formula and pushes it to the next level. The parry and dodge balance is great, bosses are epic, and weapons are genuinely interesting to try. Speaking of weapons, the blade handle system, where you can mix and match practically anything, is fantastic. It's awesome to hunt for interesting combos. And sure, 70% of combinations are trash, with the remaining 30 being viable or even good, but experimenting is still fun, and everything else is of course a skill issue. Bosses here can be a bit forgettable. My favorites are the Black Rabbit Brotherhood and Nameless Puppet. I would put them in an S tier, with Puppet King in A tier. The rest are, I don't know, nothing special. Lexatia is okay, but she's a typical rage bait boss. I don't like that kind too much. The story, on the other hand, is coherent, and we finally get some normal NPCs with personal arcs. I still don't understand people saying they outright cried during the DLC because of how sad it is. I mean, Yeah, it's sad, but what are you like, 14? I mean, have you watched Les Miserables? This is where I cried, so yeah. But man, I wish I could get back the ability to be moved by video game stories again. At the same time, taken as a grim adaptation of Pinocchio, it's not bad at all. The atmosphere is absolutely fantastic. Villains, on the other hand, are quite weak. Simon Manus shows up 2/3 into a game and is as forgettable as his boss fight. And Geppetto has such obvious bad guy vibes that you're not fooling anyone, you know. But in the end, I can safely say I don't regret the time spent. NG Plus is still fun thanks to new abilities and the variety of weapons and builds you can try. So I'd suggest going to NG Plus 2 just to see how wild it gets. And that's about it. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please leave a comment which ending did you get first in Lies of P or which ending is your favorite one. If you like my content, consider subscribing to my channel. Likes are also appreciated. More content is coming soon and I will see you there. Cheers!